All right, everybody, we are back. This is From the Pocket with your hosts, Christian and Jake. I am Jake, and DFW over there is Christian. Just praying that the Dolphins do something this year.
Can't wait to talk about them.
Yeah, we got a while to wait, but
we got a lot of things to say about that group over there in Miami. But how you doing, Jake?
I've been busy. It's been a busy couple of weeks for me. Obviously got back from Mexico. I plug that every time I can just to show I'm cultured. But, no, it's been busy at work. We're starting up the podcast again, so a lot of recording, a lot of cutting up, carving up clips. So it's been good, though. Been enjoying myself. So how have you been?
I've been okay, honestly. Saw Together yesterday. That was a pretty good fun. I think I gave it a 3.5 on Letterboxd, but I think it was a pretty good movie. Don't get me wrong, starring Dave Franco.
Oh yeah, Dave Franco,
and
the little brother.
Brie. Yeah, his little brother. That man's 40, by the way.
Oh wow.
Yeah, right. Like I was like, how old is this guy?
He's just like perpetually 25 in my head or something.
Yeah, well, like in 21 Jump Street, I was like thinking, I'm like, damn, he looked really young in that. He was 27 in that.
Yeah, it's pretty young.
Yeah, he was born in 85, and his wife, Allison Brie, which, jealous, he's married to her. But it was a pretty good movie. I highly recommend.
Well, Christian, we got a lot of football to talk about today. We got a lot of football. It's a busy episode because we got to talk about the AFC West.
Yeah. Before we get into that, I just want to say real quick about that. We are getting to our week 1 preseason games.
True.
And I just want to make a quick shout out to rooting for Shedeur Sanders. Obviously, we don't have to get all into the weeds of it, but rooting for him. He is getting the start for the Browns on Friday against the Panthers.
Exciting.
So,
that's awesome.
Excited to look at that. Dude, the Browns. I can't wait till we talk about the Browns. A lot of just weird stuff's going on with that, but
I feel like when it comes time to talk the Browns, we're going to probably do 15 minutes on the Browns. 8 minutes of it is going to be Shedeur Sanders.
Yeah, so what's happening in that QB room.
So I'm excited for that, but today it is the AFC West, very possibly, the best division in the entire NFL this year. But I wanted to make a point here before we started. This may be the best coached division in the history of the NFL. I was thinking about it. You have like the AFC East in the late 90s where you had Pete Carroll, ironically enough, coaching the Patriots, Bill Parcells on the Jets, Wade Phillips on the Bills. Your Miami Dolphins had Jimmy Johnson. You could go back to the early 2010s, the NFC West, which also had Pete Carroll, also had Jim Harbaugh, had Bruce Arians. But you look at this team of coaches, Andy Reid, Sean Payton, Pete Carroll, all Super Bowl winners. Andy Reid, obviously, a multi-time Super Bowl winner. And Jim Harbaugh has not won a Super Bowl, but he has been to one, and he's won a national championship in college. So elite talent at the coaching level in this division, possibly the likes of which we have never seen before, except maybe in a couple of rare instances. So I am very excited. It's going to be a fun episode. All 4 of these teams, I think, are very interesting, even if some have better chances than others. Before we get started, wanted to do a quick housekeeping. We still owe 2 sleepers apiece. One NFC, one AFC. We got through the NFC West. We did not pick one, but you flirted with the Cardinals a little bit. Didn't make it official, but you were eyeing them up and down the other side of the room. You were looking at them. So,
yeah.
But we didn't make it official. You're still a bachelor, Christian. And we got 4 more teams today and possibly the best division. We're going to see if we get through here with any sleepers or not. So, are you ready to start?
Yeah, let's get into it.
All right. I think it's fair to start with the Chiefs. Personally, if you're okay with that, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I figured we were going to start with the Chiefs anyway.
They've won this division 9 straight years. It predates Patrick Mahomes. They were winning with Alex Smith still as their quarterback. Patrick Mahomes, 7 years, 7 division titles, 7 AFC championship appearances, 5 Super Bowl appearances in 6 years. Christian, I'm curious just off the rip. I want to hear your thoughts because everybody is kind of burying the Chiefs. I heard John Middlecoff talk. You don't think so?
No, I didn't think there were slander. There's slander
Oh
going
yeah,
around
dude.
on the
There's so
Chiefs.
much slander on the Chiefs.
That's crazy.
I was listening to John Middlecoff, host of the Three and Out podcast, former NFL scout, and he made a point I thought I totally agreed with. He said he does not remember a team who has achieved as much as Kansas City and been so disrespected. I mean, you got you got people out here saying, forget not winning the division. You got J-Mac on the herd saying they're not going to make the playoffs. I mean, it is insanity out there. And it feels like we get this every other year with the Chiefs, where they lose a Super Bowl and all of a sudden we're like, Chiefs are done. They're over. They're out. Dynasty's over. It's over. And I'm curious what you think. I have some thoughts on that. You seem to have some strong opinions as well, so I'll let you talk.
I don't understand what this is. Like I get maybe plotting on their downfall, like with the Patriots with the Patriots and stuff like that, because that's kind of like what they are in their era right now, or they're kind of like Patriots-esque. And I am just baffled by it, because you ask anybody, you go anybody on the street that knows even a lick about football, their top quarterback is probably going to start with Mahomes or like Josh Allen, or Mahomes is in the top three. Like
I think he's number one.
He's number one. No. Like
I know you do. Yeah, but
everybody thinks he's number one. But like there might be some people that are like, oh, Josh Allen, Lamar, whatever. But he's arguably top three. Like minimum. He's in that top three
minimum.
Like in the league. I'm just baffled by like hearing that. I'm like, why are we? Like I get it. They were at 11-0 in one-score games, which I think they'll regress a little bit back to the means. I feel like they will win most of them, obviously, because it is Mahomes. He is that crazy fourth quarter stat and, comebacks and all that. Like, like he's insane. So I do believe they'll regress a little bit like that, maybe lose a little bit more. I mean, they did have some weird games thrown in there. The Broncos game, they had the weird game
with the Bengals. They had a random the PI call at the end. They got
the Ravens game, the season opener. Isaiah Likely's toe there. I feel like there's
Panthers game was even weird.
Yeah,
they were 11-point favorites, and that game was close the whole time.
So they had some weird games. They could have lost those. So I feel like that will be a regressing to the mean there. But I mean, with Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid, it's the best quarterback head coach duo in the league. Now, do you want to question Matt Nagy? Sure, as the coordinator, whatever. I do think if they don't meet their goal this year, that we could probably see an offensive coordinator change, but they're fine. I mean, my biggest concerns really are what are they going to do about their rushing attack and their offensive line. I think those are the 100%. Biggest questions for the Chiefs. So they addressed it in the draft with their left tackle, drafting Josh Simmons from Ohio State. They're saying he's been pretty good in the training camp this year. We all know the Chiefs run a pretty hard training camp. So he's been playing well. And then their left tackle that they drafted, Kingsley Suamataia, that they drafted, he played a little bit of left tackle last year. Pro Football Focus did not have a good grade for him. He had a 37.9 grade. So he's getting switched to left guard. So I'm a little nervous on that left side of their field. We all know Creed Humphrey. He's amazing.
Best center in the league.
Yeah, number one on Pro Football Focus. And then
Trey Smith, who got the bag at right guard. So I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Oh, no, you're good.
I get excited about Trey Smith and Creed Humphreys. They're awesome.
And then their right tackle spot, Jawan Taylor. He's still there. He's fine. He does get a lot of penalties. I think he was tied for the most penalties again with constantly. 19.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. Like, he's still serviceable.
On that note, I do want to just add, they also brought in Jalen Moore from San Francisco, who he could be kind of that swing guard or tackle. But it seems like, you obviously have Creed Humphreys, Josh Simmons, and Trey Smith are going to be their starters. Those last two spots, it's really between Kingsley Suamataia, Jawan Taylor, and Jalen Moore. It's going to kind of be two of those three guys.
And then offensive line, so one of their weaknesses, have they fixed it? I think they might have, but we'll see with injuries and stuff throughout the season. And then their rushing attack. They were very bad at least they were bad at explosive plays, passing and rushing.
Yeah.
They were ranked 30th in explosive passing attack and then 32nd in explosive running attack. I mean, and this is something we have seen Mahomes talk about a lot. I think we talked about it last year. Like, the Patriots are just kind of boring. Or no, Patriots. The Chiefs are just boring. We don't see those explosive plays that we were getting, in Mahomes' first, second years when he had like a younger and healthier Travis Kelce and a Tyreek Hill. And Mahomes has talked about that. I know we might lose Rashee Rice for a month of football, but he was cooking when he was in there until that injury. Hollywood Brown is back. I think he'll be a great deep threat. And then I know it was late in the Super Bowl and it didn't matter, but Xavier Worthy once the Eagles stopped playing real defense, Xavier Worthy looked really good.
I did want to start off at the top, though, and just let everybody off the rip. Just know this. The Chiefs are not going anywhere. I mean, they're not. They're still going to be among the best teams in the league. And I thought Brett Coleman really put it very succinctly talking about the Chiefs. He said, last year, you have to understand, that was the worst version of the Chiefs we're going to see.
Offensive, their receivers core was decimated.
I mean, Isaiah Pacheco was out for 6, 7, 8 weeks. I can't remember exactly, but I mean, he broke his leg. Hollywood Brown, obviously, you hit on that. Rashee Rice out for a lot of the year. He's probably, as you said, going to miss. I think he might get 6 games. A lot of people, the conventional wisdom is 4, so somewhere in between there. But either way, he's going to miss some time more than likely. But I think offensive line, you hit it. The biggest issue they had was their tackle position. I mean, they put Joe Thuney out there at tackle at one point. I mean, it got that bad. And Joe Thuney obviously is no longer on the team. As you said, we talked about their additions. But this team is not going anywhere. I mean, I remember a couple of years ago, I saw a tweet. It was they won the Super Bowl, then they lost to Tom Brady, and then they got bounced in overtime of the AFC Championship by the Bengals. That was a 3-year run they had. And I remember I saw a tweet that was like, people don't want to admit it, but Patrick Mahomes' career is going backwards. And I think about it probably once a week. It just makes me laugh every time because people are just so eager to bury successful teams. And it's like, nah, they're not going anywhere. What if I told you they were going to go to the next 3 Super Bowls in a row? How would you feel about that? And really, I know we both believe Patrick Mahomes is number 1. There's a growing contingent of people who do not believe that. They still have him, obviously, in that top 3, top 4. But, I mean, there's a lot of people who are like, actually, maybe it's Josh Allen. Actually, it's Lamar Jackson. Well, I've been saying it's Joe Burrow this whole time. And the more I dug into this team and looked and watched and researched, the more I am genuinely convinced that Patrick Mahomes is still the best in the league. I mean, just dealing with what he was dealing with last year to really tweak his game, and I hate to say it, it's funny that you made the mistake, but it is very true. They kind of became a little Patriot-esque, right? That's been the talk about them, is now it's like they used to be this big, highfalutin passing game, and now it's like we're just trying to eke out wins, play strong defense, and then beat you at the end of the game.
They will, if you let them, they will, matriculate
the ball down the field, which is a great pull because that came from Hank Stram, who was the Chiefs head coach back in the 60s and 70s. So great pull by you. But, it's really Mahomes. And you look at the defensive stats minus Chris Jones, it's not even great either. I mean, their defensive line has atrophied. Their secondary, outside of Trent McDuffie, was not that skilled in terms of their personnel. I mean, they lost Justin Reed as well, so they're retooling a little bit back there. I mean, this team was really not near as strong as we have seen this team be. And despite that, they still went 11-0 one-possession games. They went 15-1 in games that mattered, despite the fact that everything about them would tell you this team should be like a 9-win team this year. How are they winning all these games? It's because Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid and Chris Jones are that good. I really think that this team is about to be even a little better than it was last year. Like, I think they really did a great job this offseason of addressing some of their key team needs. And the last thing I'm going to say before I get into kind of the breakdown a little bit is everybody gets one. Everybody gets one. Everybody gets one time that they can predict the Chiefs' downfall. That they can predict the Chiefs are not going to win this division. It's going to happen eventually. Eventually, they're not going to win their division. It's bound to happen. You get one time, though. You can't come back and miss that and then come back the next year and say it's going to happen, and when it does go, see, I told you.
Well, they're not going to win it every year.
That's my point.
That's what everybody's trying to predict the year they're not going to do it.
Exactly, but as a result, you have all these people who year in and year out make that prediction, and then when it finally does happen, they're going to go, I told you. And it's like, no, you didn't. You don't get credit for that, fam. You get one. And if you get it right, if the one year you pick it, you get it right, hey, good on you. You get to brag. But you don't get to pick this thing every single year like all these assholes are doing. And then when you're finally right, and it might be this year. We don't know. Football's crazy. You don't get to brag about it. So anyway, I digress. You hit on, again, we've already hit on a lot of it. The tackle position was their big thing. I did have a crazy stat I wanted to give, though, that I think is just insane. So you look back since 2019, and this is from Warren Sharp for credit's sake. You look back since 2019, there have been 192 team seasons, right? So every year there's 32 team seasons. Everybody gets one season. So there's been 192 since 2019. Of those 192 seasons, when you look at how they rank in terms of their deep passes, 15 yards or more, the Chiefs ranked 189th last year. One of the least deep passing teams dating back to 2019. And then when you look at passes thrown or at behind the line of scrimmage, they were second.
Yeah.
I mean, and you know, the big talk has been like, well, we need to pass the ball more. We need to get more deep balls and all that. And I think they, you know, yeah, you can go play this terrible form of offense and still win because y'all are that good. But at some point, you're going to have to push the ball down the field more. And I think they know that.
You gotta stretch these defenses out because these defenses are
100%
too good. These defensive schemes are insane.
It's just too much for every drive. You have to matriculate the ball down the field. I mean, you need some freebies. And yeah, if you're as good as the Chiefs are, you can get away with that. But at some point, you want to make your life easier. And at some point, this 11-0 stretch of one-possession games, it's not going that those margins are not going to be there if you have to do this every time. You can still go 8-3 in one-possession games, and you'll be fine. But that's, you know, when you're looking at the margins that the Chiefs are, 12-5 to 15-2, that's a big difference because that's the difference in maybe being the first, second, or third seed. And all of a sudden, you go from being the first seed to being the third seed, and you're having to play all 4 rounds, and you're maybe even having to go on the road in the AFC Championship. It just makes your job and life a lot harder.
They already got a lot of tread on those tires already.
Exactly. And I am a little worried about this offense. Like, every year we're like, this is going to be it. And I am still a little nervous. I am just not that convinced. Xavier Worthy seems like a stud. Yes. Rashee Rice is coming off a big injury, and he's going to miss some time. So you might not even get like a fully formed Rashee Rice until November, December, because it's going to take him a few games to really get back into rhythm even after he comes back. And Hollywood Brown is good as like a 4th or a 5th option if you count Travis Kelce and Isaiah Pacheco. So I just look at this, and it feels to me like unless Xavier Worthy is ready to take a top 10 like step forward, which maybe, I just look at this team and I think, you know, this offense still could be a little deprived of its weapons again.
I will say I do like the addition of Elijah Mitchell from the
I do too. Good
from
depth.
The 49ers. Yeah. They did go into the draft and they went and got a receiver in the 4th round, Jalen Royals, and then they went and got another running back in the 7th, so Brashard Smith from SMU. So they did try to add some depth, and, you know, hopefully work on them, and we'll see what we'll get in the preseason. Be interested to see what they have in that. So they did try to add some depth, but yeah, I do agree. Their skilled positions are still like a question mark. Is this going to be Travis Kelce's last year?
I think it will be.
I think it will be too.
Yeah,
Unless,
I think last year was going to be his last year
yeah, if they
until they
won the
lost
Super
the Super
Bowl,
Bowl.
yeah.
So, and defensively, again, like they did some good stuff to address that defensive line, but I mean, you look at like there's a lot of splits that show like when Chris Jones is not in the game, holy moly, they were not good. I mean, they were
That's
just
fair.
not good. Tershawn Wharton, Derek Nottie left. They drafted Felix Enudike Usama, who since 2023 he has just not panned out that well. George Karlaftis is solid. Charles Omenihu missed a lot of time last year, but he's back. You know, they did draft Omar Norman Lott, who, you know, I did not watch a lot of Tennessee football last year,
You know,
but
grind that Tennessee tape.
I didn't grind a lot of Tennessee tape, but I've heard a lot from a lot of people who I trust that like when he played, and it's a small sample size, which is why he dropped, but when he played, he was a menace. So I'm kind of excited that maybe he helps him out a little bit.
He's a good sound like a good rotational guy.
At linebacker, I mean, they have one of the best tandems in the league, I think, in Nick Bolton and Drew Tranquill. PFF has them ranked 4th, and I tend to agree. It honestly might even be a little low for me. I mean, those are just stud dudes. Nick Bolton got the bag this offseason. And then he does, yeah. Secondary-wise, they have Trent McDuffie, who I think we all love. They did add Christian Fulton from the Chargers. So taking a strength from your rival and adding it to you, that's going to really help. Safeties for me are a question mark. They lost Justin Reed to the Saints, but I think they got 2 solid corners. And I think the goal really is to help it to where they can have Trent McDuffie move back inside because they had to have him play a lot of outside last year. And my understanding is Trent McDuffie is actually a much better nickel player than he is an outside player.
He's in their nickel, but he's also in their base as well.
Yeah, exactly. I expect this defense to be awesome still, like solid.
Spags,
that's what they do. Like Spags is, as you said, is amazing. Personnel wise, it's maybe gotten a little bit away from them, particularly on that defensive line. But I think overall, like you still have Chris Jones, he's still there, and I think they can be a solid, efficient unit. I trust them. I mean, they've been very good for the past few years now. So I think, as you said, like the big factor is going to be how do they do in one possession games? Can they be more explosive offensively? And then defensively, can they kind of correct their defensive line woes? But all in all, I mean, I'm curious. I don't even think we need to talk about their ceiling. I think we both know what their ceiling is.
It's Super Bowl or bust.
It's Super Bowl or bust. I think if this team gets bounced in the divisional, we're going to be sitting here freaking out next year.
That would be crazy if I see them get bounced.
But that just speaks to like, if the Chargers go to the divisional this year, we're like, nice, good stuff. Like, there's no even the Bills. Like, if the Bills go to the divisional and lose, we're like, yeah, all right. I mean, I expected a little more from you, but all right.
I'd be disappointed.
I'd be disappointed, but like, it's not going to be like, holy shit, what is going on here?
Yeah.
What happened to the Chiefs? So I think it's more interesting to talk about their floor. Like, do you think fathomably there's any way this team misses the playoffs? Outside of injury.
Okay. I'd be shocked if they had like 2 or 3 wins by like week 10 or something. Like
for sure. That would be insane.
I think the worst, if not barring like terrible injury luck, maybe like 8 wins, 9 wins, like barely scraping by. And it's kind of like, this team could make the playoffs, but again, the only way I see that happening is if like injuries.
Fair.
But if like Mahomes is healthy and Chris Jones is healthy, Travis Kelce and healthy, and they're like 8 and whatever, or 9 and like barely scraping in the playoffs or missing it entirely, I'd be shocked. And if I were the Chiefs, I would take a really hard look at myself if our top guns are healthy relatively,
and you're still missing,
and you're missing the playoff, then I would take a heavy look in the mirror. But I don't see that happening. Now, do I see them going 15-2? Well, 15-1 technically. I don't count that last game.
Of course.
I don't see them going 15-1, but I mean, what, they'll lose 2 or 3 more games. They play some good teams. They don't have like this weird. They don't have this crazy schedule. I know they were pretty good with because they had a wild schedule. They were playing games. They were playing games like within like 5, 6, 7
Yeah.
days, something like that. I don't think they're going through that this year, so they're gonna get a lot more rest. So I think that will help as well. But yeah, like I said, they play the Chargers week 1, then they play the Eagles week 2 at home. They play the Ravens.
If you look at their schedule, like they have obviously they play at Denver, they do every year, and they play at Buffalo. I mean, the rest of their road games are at Giants, at Jags, at Cowboys, at Titans, at Raiders. Like, I mean, those are all very win. And they
Thanksgiving game.
They got lucky because their opening game is technically their road game against the Chargers, and it's not actually like it's a neutral game.
Yeah.
So they even got lucky with that.
Ravens week 4, they play the Lions at home Sunday night. They do get the Commanders Monday night. They play the Bills and Houston, Chargers again, Broncos again. I would say that the first half of their schedule with the Chargers,
it starts a
Eagles,
little tough.
Ravens, Lions, and the Bills, like I think those are their toughest games. And then after the bye in week 11,
gets a little lighter.
It gets pretty light. I think the worst one.
I mean, that worst. It's either the Chargers or Broncos. If you're a believer in the Texans, but
6-3 is like I could see if they lose like 6-4, I guess at the worst.
I'm looking at this. This feels like a 12-win team to me, somewhere around there.
Yeah, I think I'd bet the over. It was 11.5. I'd bet the over on this.
I would probably stay away from their over/under. I just don't have any value in it, but
true.
I would lean the over. Same here. Like, I mean, again, what I have here is like if they split with the Chargers and the Broncos, both of them, and they lose to the Ravens, Bills, and Eagles, that's a 12-win season. And like they're probably not going to lose all those games. They might have a bad Sunday here and there. This team feels like 12-5 all the way to me. I mean, that's really what this team feels like, which is solid. Maybe not the first seed, but not bad.
Be up there, dude, just depending on what the Bills and how the Ravens do and all that stuff. But yeah.
All right. The last thing I'll say before we move on is I do think Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback in the NFL right now. But, like, think about the best quarterback as, like, it's a room, right? And everybody who's in the room, there is an argument that they're the best in the NFL. Right now, I think Patrick Mahomes for years has been the only player in that room. Like, I don't think right now there's an argument you can make for anybody else. But I will say for the first time in several years, the door is open. The door is open. And if Patrick Mahomes gets bounced in the divisional and Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson or Joe Burrow go and win a Super Bowl or beat him in the playoffs, I'm not saying Patrick Mahomes will be out of the room, but I'm saying somebody else might be in there with him. So, anyway. All right. Are you ready to move on to our second team? You want to talk about the Los Angeles Chargers?
Yeah, I got a little something to say about it.
All right. I'll go ahead and tee us off, and I'll let you – I'll set you up. So, okay. First off, I just want to say this. I feel the exact same way about the Chargers as I did last year. Like, I do not want to buy into them. I want to have this idea that it's like they're still like a year away. But, man, is it hard? Is it really hard to do that? Because I love the coaching staff. Jesse Minter came over with Jim Harbaugh from Michigan and was amazing as a defensive coordinator. Greg Roman plays really well with what Jim Harbaugh wants to do. Love the offensive line and their identity. I love Omari and Hampton coming in at pick 22 for them. Really like the defense, and I like Justin Herbert. I'm in like with Justin Herbert.
I like that you said that.
And I'm glad I said that because it sounds like I teed you up perfectly. So why don't you pick up where I left off?
He's just it's always the if.
It's the if.
If he did this, if he did that, like at some point I need to see results. Same with Joe. I'm gonna talk about this with Joe too. I need to see the results. I know, like, his his first 5 years or whatever were like amazing.
Very
All
Matt
the stats,
Stafford-esque.
all the stats and all that. But dog, I've seen you in 2 playoff games now.
You've been bad.
You've played one good half. You've played one good half.
And it's not like the other 3 halves he played okay. Like, it wasn't like, he was
You played bad.
Bad. The other
You were
3
bad.
halves.
In the last game I saw you when you threw 3 picks.
4. He threw 4 picks.
Forgot a pick you threw.
I'll tell you what, you were confused by the fact because he actually only threw 3 interceptions last year all season long, and then he threw 4 in 1 playoff game. So that's probably what you were confusing it with.
But, like, with all that being said, though, like, I do like Justin Herbert. I think he has the talent to be a top 10 quarterback, but for some reason, like, we do this with Tua. Like, Tua he led the league in passing 2 years ago, but we don't give Tua the same credit or the same leniency we give with Justin Herbert, because, you know, obviously Justin Herbert is more talented. Like, that, I have eyes. I can see that.
And it's so unfortunate because all offseason, the conversation about the quarterback list, the real interesting one, right, has been, well, we all agree who the top 4 are. Maybe you disagree on the order, but we all know who the top 4 are. Who is number 5? Justin Herbert should be number 5. He should
be, but again,
but he's not. He has not done it to earn it.
Exactly. And so that's kind of my annoyance with the talk of Justin Herbert. He's a great quarterback, and I like what they did last year with him. They didn't put too much on his plate. He was very efficient with the ball. He was 9th in passing yards all year, played all 17 games, about 66% completion. Very nice. 3,800 yards. 23 touchdowns
Solid.
and 3 interceptions all year. I'm just like, I need to see more, and it's mostly in the postseason. Obviously, his sample size is not. He has to get there too. Sample size is not great. I've seen him in 2 playoff games. I just need to see more. And like you talked about, they've been doing a great job. Slater just got the bag.
Love it.
Great pick by them, and back in 2021. He's been phenomenal, graded the 2nd left tackle in the league on Pro Football Focus. Their offensive line, I'm looking at the Warren Sharp, Mekhi
Becton. He's
revitalized his career.
Just on a side tangent, it should be illegal to put somebody who is 6'7", 360 pounds at guard. That is just wrong. Because Mekhi Becton, if you recall, was drafted as a tackle. He was supposed to be the anchor of the Jets' offensive line, and the Eagles brought him in, and they're like, what if we put him at guard?
Well, he was struggling.
Yeah, he was.
Couldn't stay healthy.
And then as you said, he's revitalized his career. You also got Joe Alt going into year 2. Joe Alt was a really solid pick. You know, I just wanted to make a comment on that. Last year, everybody thought they were going to pick like Marvin Harrison Jr. or something, and you and I stood strong. We're like, dude, Jim Harbaugh is not spending a top 6 pick on a receiver. He is clearly going to go an offensive lineman. He's going to probably go Joe Alt, and that's exactly what he did.
And I like what they did this year. They went running back. They did go with a receiver in the 2nd round. Trey Harris.
I think Trey Harris will be really good for that receiver room.
Najee Harris and then Omarion Hampton.
And your 3 receivers are Trey Harris, Ladd McConkey, and Keenan Allen. And Quentin Johnson, an extra guy.
I'm not in love with their tight ends, but I think they're serviceable. And then defensively, I think it's a solid unit.
It was top of the league last year. Now, I got some things to say about that, though.
You can go in on the defensive. Not much to say about the defensive unit. I think they'll be solid. I just want to see Justin Herbert play well. He did play well last year. I just need him to play well throughout the season and then carry that over to the postseason. I like what they did. Offensive line's great. Receivers and tight end serviceable.
I just love how Jim Harbaugh builds his team, because Jim Harbaugh is like, I'm going to invest in the offensive line. I'm not going to pick skill position play, except obviously Amari and Hampton in round 1, but I'm not going to focus on receivers in round 1.
When I need to.
Because he can go get Ladd McConkey in round 2, and Ladd McConkey rips off 1,000 yards. He can go get Trey Harris in round 2, and Trey Harris could very well be solid. He goes and gets Oronde Gadsden in the 5th round, who a lot of people are saying in the Chargers circls that, like, he's turning heads. He very well could end up being the starter over Tyler Conklin at some point. So who knows? I heard Brett Coleman, he kind of compared him to, like, kind of an Isaiah Likely type of figure where they kind of put him all over the field. So
hey, they need that.
And with Keenan Allen, again, they got a real committee. It's not top of the line. It's not top of the league, but it is very serviceable with an offensive line that's really good.
Chiefs go to Super Bowl every year, and
I have a point about that I did want to make where it's like we talk about how good the coaching is in this division, and none of them prioritize receivers. None of them. Four of the top 7 coaches in the NFL. The Chiefs don't prioritize it. The Broncos don't prioritize it. The Chargers definitely don't, and the Raiders didn't. The Raiders went and drafted a running back. They drafted Ashton Genty. So on the defense, I'm a little skeptical about their defense. I don't mean to bag on it, but Jesse Minter, he did a great job. He came with Jim Harbaugh from Michigan. He had possibly the best coordinating performance. Maybe there's some OCs that, obviously Ben Johnson comes to mind, but Jesse Minter is on the short list. That said, they beat up on a lot of bad quarterbacks or a lot of young rookie quarterbacks. They beat up on Drake May and Bo Nix, who are rookies. They beat up on Aiden O'Connell. They beat up on Will Levis. They beat up on Kirk Cousins. And the teams they lost to, Mahomes twice, Lamar, Baker, Kyler Murray, they did beat Joe Burrow. Look at who they were beating. It was a collection of, not very good quarterbacks. And when they did play those quarterbacks, they did not perform that well.
Looking at their schedule,
it's a harder schedule. It's harder than it was last year, but it's a middle of the pack schedule overall. And then you look at who they lost. Joey Bosa's in Buffalo. They lost him. They lost Poona Ford to the Rams, who we talked a lot about. They lost Christian Fulton, who I think that's a sneaky, huge loss for them. And they lost Asante Samuel Jr.
Not Eli Apple.
Nah, dude. Eli, that's the difference maker right there. Eli Apple, the difference maker. No, but, I mean, they did retain Khalil Mack. They drafted Jamari Caldwell. They still have Tyre Tate. They brought in Kyle Kennard. So they can maybe mitigate some of those losses. And in the secondary, I actually feel a little better about their secondary. They did bring in Dante Jackson, who coming from a 1-year stint in Pittsburgh. Derwin James is still chilling back there. And then Tariq Still and Cam Hart, that was 2 fifth-round corners they found in last year's draft. They both did really well last year. So I think there's a lot of optimism about their secondary. And then I'm calling it. I'm calling it right now. I'm probably a little late for the deep film guru people. Deion Henley is going to be a star in this league. Their linebacker, he is, again, probably a little late in terms of the deep dive homies, but there's a lot of people out there who are not talking about Deion Henley. That dude is going to be a stud in this league. So keep an eye out for that name. I think very well he could be a top-tier linebacker by the end of this year.
He's ranked pretty well, 26 of the 84 linebackers on Pro Football Focus.
Yeah,
so
he had a tough rookie year, and then he really came into his own last year, which, again, makes sense because they got better coaching. Moved off of Brandon Staley and Kellen Moore. But nevertheless, Kellen Moore's offense, you know what I mean. But anytime I can take a dig at Kellen Moore.
We'll talk about it when we get to the Saints. Can't wait till we get to the Saints.
So I think, and then just outside of the team, right, there's a couple things I think we have to watch. One, they really struggled in the fourth quarter of close games. And fun fact, in the past 4 years, they are 6-13 in games decided by a field goal. That is second worst in that stretch. So you kind of have this narrative building.
All their games against the Chiefs are
that's true too. That probably doesn't help, but you have a narrative kind of building about Justin Herbert. It's like, oh, you're struggling in the fourth quarter. Oh, you're struggling in these close games. Oh, now we're putting together playoff games where you're not good. So there's a little bit of a concern there. And then I think the big question is, I think this is going to be definitely solved, but offensively, they struggled to run the ball on early downs, which is crazy to think about because they were so dedicated to that as their identity, but they really weren't that good at it on early downs, and they had to pass a lot early. They were the 7th most pass-heavy team on early downs in the first half. So, again, Omarion Hampton, 22nd overall pick. He's going to really change life, I think, for this team. And with Najee Harris behind him, I think Najee Harris is really going to help balance it out, that workload. So, in conclusion for me, I really like this team, but I am not in love with this team. I think people are hyping this team up a little too much. I still have several questions about them. I think we have to see how Justin Herbert does in the crunch time moments. And, in a division against the Chiefs and Broncos, if you're not careful, that could be 3 or 4 losses like that. So I'm also a little skeptical of their defense. They're going to have a harder schedule. They lost some talent. They're great on paper last year, but we'll see kind of how they do. I do expect their defense to take a step back. You know how, with Brock Purdy, you know how, Kyle Shanahan would say something like, look, Brock Purdy's stats might get worse, but trust me, he is getting to be a better quarterback, even if the stats don't reflect it. I think this team in year 2 of Jim Harbaugh could be better as a team, but a harder schedule, some worse breaks. I think the stats might not indicate that necessarily. And I think they very well could end up 11-6 again, but still be a better team than they were the year before. Obviously some circumstances are a little different. So that's kind of how I feel about this team. So really quick, let's talk ceiling floor. What for you is their ceiling?
They're at 9.5 forecasted right now. I would say around that 10-7, 11-6 kind of. That's their kind of ceiling for me.
Oh wow, okay. I think that's probably where they end up. I think their ceiling for me is a little higher.
Really? 12 and?
Yeah, I think they could win. I mean, again, a ceiling is everything broke right for you. So I think everything breaks right for them. They win 12 games. Maybe 13 games, depending on some luck here.
Yeah, 12-5.
They run the ball well. This defense is legit. Justin Herbert is who we think he could be.
Yeah, I could see him winning a playoff game.
I think they win a playoff game. Mess around being the AFC Championship.
I don't know.
At the peak.
Maybe at the peak.
It's not gonna happen. I don't think it'll happen. But
realistically, I'm really just hoping for maybe they get out of the wild card game, or at least Justin Herbert have a good start to finish playoff game. That's really,
yes.
I know
I agree.
The Chargers want probably a little bit more. They probably think of themselves as a much better team than that. But realistically, I think if I'm a Chargers fan, I want a playoff win. But if I can get a game where Justin Herbert plays well and maybe we didn't get a call or we get a drop ball or something, I could live with that as long as they're in the game. So yeah, that would be mine.
I agree. I think a successful season for them, if they win a playoff game and they're playing, say, the Bills, or the Ravens or Chiefs or something, and Justin Herbert plays well in a loss, I think we're going to look at the Chargers and feel really, really, really good.
We'll be optimistic
about where they're
going into 2026.
If we are here same time next year, they go 11-6 and they get bounced in round 1 again. I'm not saying he's on the hot seat. I don't know if you can have Justin Herbert on the hot seat.
No,
okay. Jim Harbaugh's not going anywhere.
Okay, I was
Jim Harbaugh might be looking around going.
He didn't draft him.
No, and I think Nick Wright, I'll give Nick Wright a little credit here. I thought he made a really great point about this because the whole debate has been well, Jalen Hurts or Justin Herbert, and Nick Wright, I thought he crushed it with this point. He's look, Justin Herbert last year, in that playoff game in particular, was literally asked to do exactly what Jalen Hurts does for the Eagles. And he threw 4 picks and lost the game. And Jalen Hurts has been to 2 Super Bowls. Jalen Hurts has more Super Bowl wins than Justin Herbert has playoff wins. He's been to the Super Bowl as many times as Justin Herbert has been in a playoff game. So I thought that was just a great way to frame it. It's we talk about who's better. It's well, how about when Justin Herbert is asked to do what Jalen Hurts does, he hasn't even done that well. So I digress.
And I really do, just one last one. I really hate to pile on a player. He seems like a nice guy, nice dude, and stuff like that.
I respect Justin Herbert.
I do too, but hey,
we're truth tellers.
But hey, man, everybody just puts him on this pedestal, and I'm he hasn't earned it. He has not, and especially I deal I like a team with a guy that we give no credit when he does well and his team does well.
You hear the way they talk about Tua. Tua's on the hot seat. I
Like,
mean,
yeah,
Tua
you
is a
think Tua
year
is
away from being cut.
one of the worst players in the league, and I'm like, he does not get the like. I just wish we were more fair about it.
I think you're just sensitive because of that famous debate between Tua and Justin Herbert and all that because they came out in the same draft. But anyway.
It's like, oh, Justin Herbert, his stats compared to Peyton Manning.
Peyton.
He has like similar stats to Peyton.
Yeah, but then Peyton went and ripped off 3 straight all-pro first teams, and he ripped off 2 straight MVPs and was second and third place in MVP voting respectively. So unless Justin Herbert is about to do that, the Peyton Manning comparisons can kindly stop.
If he don't play well this year, then it's gonna stop. It should.
So, all right, Christian, let's move on to our third team. I wanted to talk about the Las Vegas Raiders. This team makes me think of the song "Feeling Good." I love Michael Bublé's edition the most, but it's the line, it's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life for the Las Vegas Raiders. It is not often a team outside of getting like a top round quarterback in the first round or something. I don't think it's often that we're excited for a team who's going to finish last place in their division. But I am so excited for the Raiders this year.
I share your excitement too. I think we made a video last year about how the offseason was going. This is my number one pick for like the best head coaching hire. I love this one way more. I feel like the Mike Vrabel one should have happened last year for the Patriots, but now we're here. I absolutely love this.
Yeah, Pete Carroll.
I mean, for the Raiders, they have just been a team that's just been out in the desert just looking for some semblance of consistency and stability. Yeah. And I feel like with Pete Carroll, they can finally have that and get a culture started. And it's not going to happen immediately. I'd be shocked. What is there? I think the Warren Sharp reports
like
has
6.5.
Yeah. That's a great season if they get 6 wins.
Oh, I disagree.
Really?
I disagree. I think so.
Not a great season, but I feel like I would hold my. You went 4-13 last year.
Yeah.
Just looked abysmal. Like you didn't look like you won your 3 of your last 4 games at the end of the season.
Made the call and then just tanked it all the next year.
Like,
yeah.
I feel like if they win 6 games, probably Pete Carroll and his staff probably won't feel well, but I think I would feel well.
I think 6 wins is like, okay. 7 wins is like, okay. I think 8 wins is probably where, Pete Carroll obviously will never say this, and Pete Carroll's probably not even aiming for 8 wins. Pete Carroll is the guy that I remember Seattle for several years. We were like, well, Seattle's clearly rebuilding. And Pete Carroll's just like, we're not rebuilding. And he's like convincing players to stay because he's like, we're not rebuilding, I promise. And we're all laughing at him. And then they go rip off 9-10 wins. And we're like, oh, okay, I guess the Seahawks weren't actually rebuilding. I guess Pete Carroll knew what he was talking about. So
are you saying the Raiders are going to get hit?
I think the Raiders, if you want to be fun, you can make them an off-the-wall playoff pick. I'm probably not going to pick them to go to the playoffs. Again, we haven't done that yet, so, like, to be determined. But, hey, the Raiders mess around, get 9 wins, 10 wins all of a sudden. If they're in competition towards the end of the year, and it's like, oh, my gosh, the Raiders are actually, like, putting wins together. Like, they're really good. They have the infrastructure that says they can. I mean, Pete Carroll, they brought in, as I'm sure you're about to talk about, Geno Smith, who that is literally going to – I was thinking about it. I was like, I think that is the best coach-quarterback combo they have had since maybe Bill Callahan and Rich Gannon in the early 2000s. I mean, they had Jack Del Rio and Derek Carr for a little bit, which isn't bad. Okay. John Gruden was, that whole thing. Rich Bisaccia, which, he had a good run as the interim, and then they just didn't keep him. I mean, this is a team this offseason. This is what I wrote here. I said they grew up. They sat down. They made a spreadsheet and got their finances in order. They cleaned out their fridge and threw out their expired food. They mopped the hard floors. They got their oil changed. They stopped eating out and got groceries. They hit the gym a couple times a week. Like, that is what this team did. And, 6, 7, 8 wins, I don't know. But the goal, I think, is to just, can we put together a competent, that's what the front office's goal is. Like, can we just stop being bottom of the barrel of the league? Can we, go in the right direction finally? And I don't know what that's going to look like. This is a tough division, but I think they are in prime position to do that.
I would say, if for the 6 win, I don't think and why I say that is, I don't think 6 wins would be bad for them. I feel like if they are competitive in these games, in most of these games, and they only can get 6, then yeah, like you said, then they'll look like they have grown up and done all of those adult responsibilities. And I like the stability, like Geno Smith being brought in. I know he had a lot of interceptions last year, but that was a really weird. Seattle was weird.
They didn't protect him. I mean, you look at how so many of those interceptions came when he is like, "Oh, I'm about to die. I'm about to die right now."
And Pro Football Focus, their offensive line unit looks pretty damn solid. Looks like a competent group of dudes. So
it does.
That's a plus for them. He has Brock Bowers.
Who's that?
I don't know. Some guy. Apparently he drafted in the first round last year.
This was a first round pick? He must have not done that much for me to not have heard of him.
Jack.
Nothing.
He
probably had 200 yards all year long or something.
So they have Brock Bowers. I mean, we did talk about Jacoby Myers. He's not a top guy.
He had 1,000 yards last year.
He can ball. He can ball a little bit. I know they're probably hoping they hit on Dante Thornton right now, 4th round pick from the Tennessee, 6'5", 214. So hopefully he's that.
He's literally they're just gonna send him deep. The real guy, I think, is gonna be Jack Besh out of the 2nd round.
Yeah, I do like Alshon Jeanty. Obviously, excited to see how he's gonna come out. I think Pete Carroll is gonna try to run the ball, try to take the ball out of Geno Smith's hands, and obviously run the ball, and then that'll help open the play action, all that stuff, get Brock Bowers going. So I like what they have offensive line wise, weapon wise. Some guys that need to be proven, and defensively,
bad.
I think they're just looking for a solid unit. If they could be middle of the pack, that would be great for them. So it's going to be a work in progress. Now, we always see defenses that if they have, the great coaching and stuff, they'll struggle early, but then later on in the season as a unit with injuries and stuff, and they come back, they play a lot better. So we're probably going to see the Raiders struggle a lot defensively, probably not stopping a whole bunch.
That secondary is going to be brutal this year.
And you will see that a lot, where the secondary struggles heavily in the beginning of the year, but maybe after their bye and later on in the season, they become a much more cohesive unit. They do have Jeremy Chin. Yeah, they got Jeremy Chin in the backfield. I think he's pretty solid. They were able to keep Max Crosby. I mean, that was their biggest, is he going to leave? Is he not? They ended up keeping him staying. I think it was due to Pete Carroll coming in and maybe finally being like, okay, now we seem more like a serious organization. I'm kind of excited to see Chip Kelly.
Yeah, that's going to be the game changer for them offensively.
Come the offensive coordinator, it's going to be interesting to see that. He was the head coach for UCLA, and he took over the offensive coordinator job for Ohio State. Excited to see that. Schedule is kind of rough for them.
It is.
Chiefs twice. They probably will win the last one because it's week 18. Chiefs will probably be resting, so they'll win that one. They play the Eagles late in the season. They do have an early bye, week 8 bye. Not fun. They do open up against the Patriots, so I think that will be a good game for them. Chargers, Commanders, kind of rough. Chicago in week 4, Colts, Titans, and then Chiefs before their bye. So I I really do think 6 wins, as long as they don't look abysmal throughout the year, as long as they are a solid unit, I think that will be fine. I think 6 wins. I would be happy if I was a Raiders fan. I mean, obviously, I don't want 6 wins, obviously,
Yeah, for sure.
but if we can get 6 wins, we're in a lot of these games, and hey, it's just team had more talent. Patrick Mahomes on the other side, they play like Jalen Hurts and that monster in Philadelphia is over
C.J.
there.
Stroud,
Yeah,
Jaden Daniels.
like as long as they can make it somewhat competitive, I would be happy.
I agree, and I mean I do think they're going to be a lot more competitive. Like again, I know I was hard on Geno Smith last year, but
Yeah, I mean he had a rough year, but
I am willing to say I was a little incorrect about Geno Smith, and I got to say I think he's a little underrated now. I wanted to ask you a trivia question, Christian. Do you know, in terms of the most accurate quarterbacks in the NFL, do you know where Geno Smith ranked last year?
ooh, I could look it up because I do have the stats open,
You sure do.
but I won't. I think he was kind of accurate. I think that was like the weird thing. He was accurate, but he was throwing like a lot of picks. I'll say he was like fifth.
He was two. He was second. Do you want to guess? And don't look it up. He ranked in the same spot in 2021, 2022, and 2023. Do you want to guess what that spot was?
Like number 3.
Number 1.
Number,
He's the most
so he's
accurate quarterback over the past 4 seasons in the entire league.
damn.
And last year, little fun fact, the Raiders were 26th in accuracy. So, big upgrade.
I mean, but he's throwing to DK, Jackson Smith, and Jigba.
But now he's handing it off to Ashton Genty and throwing to Brock Bowers. And here's a little big fact for you. The Raiders last year were average on the O-line. But last year, Seattle was the worst. So he's going from the worst offensive line to just an average offensive line. Like, that's going to be a big difference. Here's another big stat for you. For your ass. Geno Smith is really, really good indoors. Indoors, he has almost a 7-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio.
Oh wow! Okay, I did not know that. Yeah.
Outdoors, it's 1.6 touchdowns to 1 interception. It's immeasurably better. I mean, you can measure it, but it's a lot. He's going to play 12 games in a dome this year, including all of his home games.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and again, Ashton Genty really, really could change life. They were dead. People talk about how bad the Cowboys were running the ball, and they were one of the worst. The Raiders were the worst. They were literally bottom, number 32 in basically every rushing category you can name. Advanced stats, basic stats. And now they're bringing a guy who is going to literally change the entire way this offense operates because he is that good. And again, you talked about their O-line, Colton Miller. Dylan Parham had a bit of a breakout year last year. It looks like they're going to move Jordan Meredith from guard to center, even though it looked like Jackson Powers-Johnson was going to be center all offseason, but it looks like they're actually going to bounce him out at guard. They did sign Alex Kappa, but Alex Kappa has not been good for a minute. So, defensively, they did lose a lot of talent. They lost Robert Spillane, Nate Hobbs.
That's going to be their Achilles heel.
Jack Jones. Defense. They did, as you said, bring in Jeremy Chin, but that's to replace Marcus Epps. So this defense is going to be brutal. It was a little misleading last year because of how they just had so many injuries on the defensive side last year. As long as that doesn't happen, I think the unit will be serviceable. Although I really do think their secondary is probably not going to be good at all. Like, I think it could be a bad unit. But I mean, you look at all these things adding up, and yeah, it's a tough schedule. You talked about it. Chargers, Broncos, Chiefs twice, Patriots, Commanders, Texans, Eagles, Jags, Cowboys. I mean, those games are not gimmies, but they steal 1 or 2 of those. They win the games they should, and all of a sudden we're looking up and we're like, what? Are the Raiders 7-7? Are they 7-7 right now? Are they the 8th seed right now? Are they in the running to sneak into the playoffs? Like, do not be surprised if that happens, even if they end up being the worst team in this division. So
I just think that defense is just
it's yeah, and I mean, again, like, this is the kind of division that just I wish like we could put the Broncos in like the AFC South and like put the Titans in this division just to balance it out, because like you look at the Raiders and it's like, I just love everything y'all did this offseason. Y'all did it right. And I know, again, it doesn't have to turn around in one season.
Yeah.
But it's really a bummer that, like, they're at the bottom of this division by kind of a gap just because of how good the other three teams are. Yeah. It's just not fair. But, you know, they're coming off a terrible situation in 24. We don't even got to talk about it, but
it's really hard to like talk about this team because it's like they made a really great change. That's like, let's just throw like that. Last year doesn't matter. That was just that's not them. Now they're new year, new me. You know?
I agree 100%. So with all that, let's talk about their ceiling and their floor. So their ceiling for me, it probably is pretty low. I think, again, if everything bounces right, if everything bounces perfect, and they get everything lined up for them, 10-7. 10-7. Some real strides, bit of a tough schedule, a roster that has a ways to go. And I think their floor is 5 or 6 wins, which maybe if you're a Raiders fan, you take that. But the goal to me is, like, let's get 7,
maybe
8
not
wins.
5, but I think, I think you want to push up to that 6, 7, 8.
Yeah.
I feel like that would show like, okay, we're kind of ahead of schedule and we're putting our best foot forward there. They won 4 last year and it was just kind of whatever. And, you know, Connor Cook or whoever was playing quarterback and all that stuff. So I would want more than 5. But if they can get to that 6, 7, 8, then damn.
We're cooking.
Yeah, we're cooking.
And the last thing I'll say, I mean, you draft a running back with your top pick in the draft. I mean, we remember the Giants did that with Saquon Barkley, and we all went, "Oh, the Giants are saying we're closer than you think we are," and then they weren't close at all. Like them drafting Ashton Genty, I know it's to help balance the offense a little bit and to give Geno some help, and it's obviously it was like. I mean, they had a lot of holes last year.
Well, they lost Josh Jacobs to the Packers.
And they did not adequately replace him last year. So it's like addressing their biggest need, but it's also like you don't draft a running back that high unless you're like, no, we're in this thing. Like, we're going to be kind of a force. Like, you need to watch out for us. So I'm very curious. The Raiders are so interesting to me. I mean, they are very, very possibly the most interesting last-place team. And they've already had some drama. You know, this whole Christian Wilkins saga has been very weird, and they moved past it.
Oh, so. I forgot. I just kind of threw that in the back of my. I was like, what's going on with the Raider? Well, he's not on the team.
No, they cut it. They cut it. And now they're probably in litigation, which is bizarre. But
that's entirely. They do play tomorrow, so check them out. Raiders Seahawks.
Yeah. Hey, good. Wow, that's amazing. Is that in Seattle?
Yeah, in Seattle, it's at 9.
Dude, Pete Carroll's going home. Geno's going home.
I don't know if he'll play. I don't know what it's looking like, but I imagine with a new group, we might see Geno for.
I think you got to play Geno a little bit. He's in a new
drive.
System.
Yeah, at least a new drive or something. Chip Kelly coming in.
You got to play
new
a
OC.
little bit. So. All right, Christian, let's talk about the Denver Broncos, our last team. Christian. I have an announcement. That I would like to make right now.
Well, let me hear it. What's going on?
The Denver Broncos are my sleeper team for the AFC.
Oh, I knew it.
They are my sleeper
team. Knew it. You little snitch. Tried to sneak that past me.
I literally love everything about this team. Everything about this team.
Even Bo Nix?
Even Bo Nix. We'll talk about Bo Nix. Bo Nix is kind of the asterisk, but Sean Payton earlier this week, might have been late last week, but he said it very, very recently. He said in his career, he has coached 6 teams that he thought could win the Super Bowl. Now, some of those, one of them won the Super Bowl. A couple of them maybe NFC Championship. They all made the playoffs, right? Like they were all very high ceiling. That's the year when the Saints were going
close that one year if they would have called that PI.
Yeah. So that was one of them. He said this is the 7th. He said this is the 7th team he has coached that he thinks can go win the Super Bowl.
He's just glazing his team. I mean, I feel you,
dude. He will not shut up about Bo Nix. I mean, he is like He does not like Bo Nix. He loves Bo Nix. Like, he will not stop
This
talking
was the
about Bo
guy.
Nix.
This is the guy he wanted.
Like,
He drafted, and he got him to the playoffs.
and I this is like one of those teams where it's like I get nervous when I like a team this much because it's like everything you read about them, you're scared that it's gonna be like, oh, but they got to deal with this, and oh, I didn't even think about that, and how am I gonna justify that with how much I like this team? I did not encounter that with this team. Everything I read so much about this team, everything I read about this team, everything I've learned about this team, I'm like, dude, this team is the real deal. Like, the way we're talking about the Chargers, I think we should be talking about the Broncos that way. This team legitimately, I think, can be in the Super Bowl this year.
I mean, it's crazy. They were in 2024. They were favored in 2 of 17 games last summer.
Yes,
this is from Warren Sharp. They are now favored in 12 games this
100%.
year.
And last year
they went from 2 to 12 this year.
And last year they were 1-6 in one-score games. They had 7 wins last year of 14 points or more. That was the most in the NFL. So when they won, they won.
Yeah.
Rookie Bo Nix played the 4th toughest schedule of defenses last year and the 6th toughest schedule of pass defenses. And I think what happened was kind of the narrative on last year, really quick, just to talk about it.
No, you're good.
I think people kind of, like, Bo Nix early on struggled. And I think people kind of went, okay, yeah, Bo Nix, like, he's all right, he's average. But Bo Nix in the back half, the back stretch, was literally
pretty good,
awesome. Yeah. His last 7 games, he went 5-2. And the 2 games he lost, he threw 5 touchdowns to 1 interception and posted a passer rating of 106 or better in both of them. He threw for multiple touchdowns in 7 of his 8 last games. He had a 70% completion percentage or better in his last 3 games, each of them. And the game changer, I think, for him was when Sean Payton began to kind of simplify the offense for him, got him to throw the ball quicker. He threw at or behind the line of scrimmage the 3rd most, and when he got rid of the ball quick, he was fantastic. Now, when he held onto the ball, he was not that good. But Sean Payton, his whole thing is he hates sacks. He wants the ball to get gone. So I think he's going to continue to do that with Bo Nix. And again, he is talking up Bo Nix. So I have a lot I want to say about this team. As you can tell, I haven't gotten to their offensive line, which is elite, possibly the best in the NFL. I haven't gotten to their defensive line, which is phenomenal, possibly one of the best in the NFL. And their secondary, bar none, is the best in the NFL. The only team I want to hear an argument for is the Ravens. That's it. And I think they're better than the Ravens in the secondary. So I have a lot I want to say. I'll let you go and give me your kind of quick thoughts on the Broncos and what you've been seeing in your research.
Well, going back to your point about Bo Nix and getting the ball out quickly and Sean Payton kind of, tailoring the offense toward what he does. It's pretty interesting because I'm hearing that about, I know Caleb has been going through some struggles. Yeah. We'll talk about it when we talk about the Bears. He's going through his struggles, and I think Eric Mangini talked about it. I think what's kind of happened, what's going on over there in Chicago is Ben Johnson's kind of like throwing everything, kitchen sink, the couch, the TV, throwing everything at him, just try to break Caleb down and then, build him back up. And I think what Sean Payton has done is now he kind of tried to throw everything at him, but then he saw throughout the year as, they were going weeks and through the games, building him back up, building up his confidence and, getting the ball out quickly and stuff like that. So I'm still a little iffy on what we're going to see in his sophomore year. We got good tape on him last year. We got he played all 17 games, playoff game. It was against the Bills. I'm not going to put first playoff action in the NFL. Like it's a whole different environment. So I'm not going to put that on him. So it is going to be interesting to see on what that is going to look like. But as you talked about, offensive line looks great on Pro Football Focus. Top two right guard pretty good. Left tackle, right tackles, and center guard looks pretty good. I do like their addition with running back RJ Harvey. I think he's getting quite a lot of buzz. Second round pick running back, so gonna be excited to see him. They even added to a strength with their corner. I love Pat Surtain, so adding him with Pat, I think will be great. So I am excited to see their defense. They had a Hufanga from the 49ers. I know he was injured last year.
Yeah, he's a bit of an injury risk.
So I do think he'll play well as long as he can stay healthy. I think he'll be a great addition for that secondary. But bringing it back to the offense, I do like Cortland Sutton there. They just gave him upgrade for his contract. I do think he'll be good. Going to be interesting to see how Mims Jr. progresses. They did bring in Pat Bryant. So not in love with it. I do like Cortland Sutton. Evan Ingram, I do like as a good, solid tight end choice. He was balling pretty well in Jacksonville, so I'm excited to see that. So overall, I think their offense is going to be good. Just depending on Bo Nix and, if their guys can progress, specifically Mims and their slot wide receiver, but that could be Pat Bryant. He could get that slot.
I think Pat Bryant in the third. He actually comps, ironically enough, really, really well to Cortland Sutton. So he should be a solid addition. On Marvin Mims, I think part of their game plan, right, because obviously they didn't prioritize their receiving core that much. I think they're kind of banking on Marvin Mims evolving from just a return specialist. Julian Edelman, Wes Welker, Tyreek Hill, Antonio Brown. I mean, there's a few guys that you think of. Tyler Lockett, Jamison Crowder. There's like a couple guys that like started their careers as return specialists and then they became really solid receiving options. I think that's kind of what they're banking on. And then Cortland Sutton.
Hoping.
Yeah. So I think that's why they didn't feel like they had to prioritize it. And then, again, as you said, Pat Bryant in the third round, I think he'll be solid. I want to say this. I think something that's really hilarious is this team is kind of starting to look a lot like Sean Payton's old Saints teams in a way. They went and drafted RJ Harvey, which I think I was watching some RJ Harvey tape. That dude is awesome. Like, I think he is going to be so good for them. Javonte Williams just was terrible last year, and it's not his fault. He got injured and he just hasn't been the same. But he was really, really not good, so they cut him. He's on the Cowboys now. But RJ Harvey, they're pairing him with J.K. Dobbins, which I don't know, kind of looks a lot like Mark Ingram and Alvin Kamara. I don't know. They went and got Evan Ingram, but I think they're going to use Evan Ingram in the same way they use Jimmy Graham. And then Sean Payton always be prioritizing the offensive line.
When I wasn't really watching football, I thought Marcus Colston was one of the best receivers in the league. I was watching football casually, I really thought Marcus Colston was a top receiver in the league.
He's good.
Every time I watched the Saints game, that man was making ridiculous ass catches.
And you think of the Saints during that era,
Willie Snead was pretty solid for them.
Willie Snead, but Brandon Cooks was good, not great. Michael Thomas could have been great, but obviously injuries and stuff kind of kept him from that. But even in those Saints teams, he didn't prioritize receiver as much. It was really the offensive line. And you look, the offensive line, I saw this stat. It's adjusted line yards, which tries to separate how good a line is from the running backs running behind it. Sean Payton, after his first year, he started in New Orleans in 2006, right? So 2007, you throw that year out, 2007 all the way up to the end of his tenure. His offensive lines only ranked outside of the top 7 in adjusted line yards twice. And 7 of the years, they were either number 1 or number 2. And you think Cesar Ruiz, Ryan Ramczyk, Jari Evans, just to name
Teron
Armstead, they prioritized that offensive line, and I think it's just kind of funny that this team is really starting to look like that. But I mean, you look at that offensive line; they were number 1 in both run blocking and pass blocking, and I just, again, the J.K. Dobbins, R.J. Harvey pairing, I think is going to be phenomenal. Their receiving core is definitely their weak point, but I think it'll be manageable. I think given the weapons that they do have and the offensive line is going to be there, I think they'll be fine. On their front seven, just like their offensive line, by the way, they retained everyone. Zach Allen, DJ Jones, who just got the bag, Malcolm Roach,
Benito,
John Franklin Myers, Nick Benito, 13.5 sacks last year. Absolute animal. Yeah. Absolute animal. And they signed Dre Greenlaw. They also drafted Savion Jones to bolster the team on the front seven. So basically, this is a unit who was elite at run stopping last year. We talked about the Chargers being like a top tier defense, and they were not good at stopping the run last year, though. This team was good at stopping the run. And they just made it better. They made the unit better. But let me tell you something, Christian. As we already talked about, this secondary, I think it's the best in the NFL. Pat Surtain, you talked about it. He's pretty good. He's pretty good.
Yeah, all right.
He's pretty good.
Defensive player of the year.
They got Brandon Jones at safety going into year 2. His first year in Denver was amazing. Jaquan McMillan could be a top-tier slot corner, but they also signed, as you said, Talanoa Hufanga. And I think a reason I really like this team as much as I do is because they build the team the way I would. It's like, hey, how's your offensive and defensive lines? It's like, oh, yeah, some of the best in the league. It's like, love it. What about your secondary? It's like, oh, well, actually, we just had our corner one defensive player of the year last year. It's like, oh, dang, that's cool. What else did you do? It's like, oh, we brought in a stud safety. Oh, that's nice. Yeah, we also used our first-round pick on another corner. It's like, oh, that's exactly what I would do. They went and got Jahdae Barron out of Texas.
I think their worst player in their defense is either Hufanga or their second their opposite.
Yeah,
side.
Riley Moss. But again, like, that's not a bad spot. And again, they have Jaquan McMillan and Jahdae Barron, who both could be studs at the nickel. You could put Jahdae Barron back at safety. You could they have so much rotational and flexibility.
And Joseph, he gonna cook.
Like, again, their depth on every it's so good. I mean, this defense is so good. And what they're going to do, this is what they're going to do. This is what they did last year, and they're going to do it even more this year with a better unit. They're going to blitz the shit out of everybody. They blitzed at the 7th highest rate last year. They led the league in sacks. They were second in pressure rate. And what they're going to do is they're going to blitz, and they're going to put press coverage. And they're going to make your receivers on the outside beat their corners man-to-man, and you're going to have about a second and a half to figure out what you need to do with the ball. Like,
Pastor Tang can lock up your best one.
Last thing I want to talk about is I want to talk about their coaching staff, because this roster of coaches is insane. They have probably 4 future head coaches on this staff. You know how people talk about the Washington team all those years ago, and there's a picture of Kyle Shanahan and Matt LaFleur and Sean McVay.
It was insane.
That's what this coaching staff is going to be in 10 years.
You think Vance Joseph is going to get another shot?
I think Vance Joseph will get another shot, but I think very well Joe Lombardi could be a head coach.
If they have another good year, yeah.
They have Davis Webb as their passing game coordinator and QB coach, and he's a former quarterback. He was a backup
for Texas Tech?
Yeah, now he's their quarterback coach.
Oh, that's cool. I like that.
He is like,
I mean, yeah, he played quarterback for years.
I'm going to say this comparison. You know how I feel about the comparison, but it's to make the point. People are really comparing him to like a Kellen Moore, D'Amico Ryans type figure, where it's like he is going to be a head coach at some point. Like, he is just that good. And they also have Jim Leonard on their defensive passing game coordinator, who, what I heard was Sean Payton personally was like, you come to Denver with me and I will turn you into a head coach. That's what I've heard. So, and then a footnote, George Payton, their GM, has done a really nice job. He was kind of on shaky ground, but Sean Payton era, he's really found his footing. So I just love so much about this team. I'm just so excited about this team. This is how I felt this way about the Lions last year, but I feel it even more about this team.
It just sucks they got to play the Chiefs twice.
Dude, go look at their schedule. I was looking at their schedule. I'm not saying. I'm just saying they might win 13 games this year.
I mean, they start off pretty easy with Titans at home and the Colts on the road. Week 3 gets a little tough against division opponent against the Chargers. Do you get the Broncos at home Monday night? That's gonna be a fun Monday night game. Then they get a road test against the Eagles. And it
Tough.
lightens up a little bit with the Jets and then the Giants,
Texans,
Raiders.
That's 5 straight wins.
And then the Chiefs week 11 at home. That was a tight game. That was a tight game last year. We'll see. They do get a week 12 bye. Not in love with that. But then they get a stretch against the Commanders, Raiders, Packers, Jags, end on the Chargers. By the Chargers game, by your standards, they should be in the playoffs, so they might not be playing for much there. Maybe like a little, probably seeding depending how it rolls there. With all that being said, are you ready to talk about like their ceiling and their floor?
I think their
or do
ceiling.
You have some more news?
No, I don't. I think their ceiling is literally a Super Bowl. I do. I think their ceiling.
They do have the squad to get it if they get, Mims becomes a solid second receiver, RJ Harvey, and and then J.K. Dobbins.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Those two are really good, and their offensive line stays healthy, and that unit's together. Yeah, I could see it. They got the defense that can get them there. Lockdown corner. Really good defensive coordinator. Sorry, don't want to disrespect Vance Joseph. I do agree with that. Man,
I'm convincing him. You see this? No,
that's why we call it the ceiling. I don't think they'll reach that.
Well, that's fair. I think it all hinges on Bo Nix.
Yeah,
it really does. I mean, if Bo Nix can take a step forward, I think they've done a great job to help him. Great offensive line. They got him a good run game. They got him some weapons, not top line receivers, but he's got some weapons, and obviously that defense is spectacular.
Except for the Eagles, but that roster's stacked all.
Yeah, I can't wait to talk about the Eagles
roster, but you can escape with not having, like, Baltimore's been doing it for years. They haven't had a great receiving core, and then Buffalo, their receiving core wasn't great either
last year, and
maybe the AFC Championship.
The Chiefs receiving core was in tatters last year.
So you don't really need an amazing receiving.
As long as you get solid, as long as you play well situationally and you play good on defense, and your quarterback doesn't mess it up, like, you can go far without great receivers. I fully expect this team to end up in the divisional round. I really do. And
anything short of the divisional round.
To be honest, I expect them to be in the AFC Championship. Like, Super Bowl, maybe. Super Bowl's tough to get to, but AFC Championship, I'm almost locking it in. This is going to be one of my 2 teams in the AFC Championship this year.
Damn.
I don't
know if I'll go that far, depending on who.
I'll let us.
Depending on how it shakes up, but I think anything short of the divisional round would be a disappointment. But yeah, it all hinges on Bo Nix. Can he not have He'll probably have some struggles, obviously.
Yeah, of course.
The sophomore slump teams have more tape on you now. They know what you like and what your tendencies are. So it's going to be interesting to see. But yeah, that can be mitigated with a great running game and a defense that can hold you to, field goals or just plain up getting you off the field.
100%. Yeah. And I think on that note, if Bo Nix is not good, like if he does regress and he's not taking that step, I think the floor is 9-10 wins. I just think this team is too talented. I think they're going to, again, run the ball too well. I think Sean Payton is going to, even if it has to be in spite of Bo Nix, he's going to scheme up some good offense. This defense is going to be awesome. I think 9-10 wins is their floor. I think this team at minimum is going to the playoffs. Could be kind of like the Chiefs, where we talked about, like, maybe their floor is like they're in the hunt for the playoffs. Do they make it? Do they not? Who knows? But yeah, this is my team. Like, I already have my team. I know the team, my NFC sleeper as well. I'm excited to talk about them. But this is the AFC sleeper. Like, I am, and I'm not even that confident in my NFC sleeper. Like, my NFC sleeper, I think, is going to be really good. I don't think it's going to be this. I think I genuinely think we're gonna, like, the Broncos are going to be like 9-1, and we're going to be like, oh, the Broncos are like the best team in the league. Like,
I think I might have a sleeper, but I'm not very confident in them.
Oh, well, do some research and get more confident. Find some reasons to be confident.
I've been flirting with a specific team that I think will be okay. Will be better than they were last year.
We haven't talked about them.
No, we have not.
All right, well,
In the AFC.
Just let me know because we got 3 divisions left. So, but
Yeah.
everybody, that is it. We are done. We have talked about the Broncos, the Raiders, the Chargers, the Chiefs. Excited to see what happens. This again, I think this is the best division in football. So really excited. Let us know what you think. Like, comment, share the video, share the pod, give us a rating. Let us know if we're smart. Let us know if we're stupid and we don't know ball. We take it all. We hear it all. So we appreciate you listening. Christian, you got anything you want to say to the lovely people?
No, I'm just glad we're getting back into it.
All right, we'll catch y'all on Monday. We'll be talking about the NFC South next. So excited to talk about that. It's probably one of the weaker divisions, but hey, should still be interesting. So until then, take care. We love you. We cherish you. Like, comment, subscribe, share, rate us, please. We love you. Thank you. All right. Bye, everybody.
Appreciate it.